Welcome back, ghost enthusiasts, to another bone-chilling episode of 101 Ghost Stories. Tonight, we're venturing into the land of sun, surf, and spirits, California. From eerie ocean liners to mysterious mansions, the Golden State hides some of the most haunted places in the world. But before we dive into tonight's chilling tales, a huge thank you to all our returning subscribers for your continued support. If you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and join us on this terrifying journey into the unknown. And remember, after hearing about these haunted locations, we want to know, have you visited any of them? Do you live near one of these paranormal hotspots? Share your stories with us in the comments below. Now, let's begin our journey with one of the most famous haunted hotels in the world, the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. In heart of Hollywood, where the stars of the golden age still shine, and some may never have left, the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel, with its Art Deco charm and storied history, has hosted some of the biggest names in showbiz. But this iconic hotel is not just known for its celebrity guests. It's famous for its ghostly residents as well. Built in 1927, the hotel quickly became a hotspot for the elite of Tinseltown. However, over the years, stories of paranormal activity began to emerge. One of the most famous apparitions said to roam the halls is none other than Marilyn Monroe. The legendary actress often stayed at the Roosevelt, and her presence is still felt today. Visitors claim to have seen her reflection in a full-length mirror once housed in her favorite suite, now displayed in the hotel's lobby. It's as if Marilyn herself can't tear herself away from the glamour of the place she loved. But Marilyn isn't the only star haunting the Roosevelt. The ghost of Montgomery Clift, another Hollywood legend, is said to roam room 928, where he stayed while filming From Here to Eternity. Guests in this room have reported hearing the sound of a trumpet late at night. Clift was known to practice in his room, along with the feeling of being watched. Some have even claimed to see a shadowy figure sitting at the foot of their bed, as if waiting for something or someone. There are also stories of a little girl in a blue dress who roams the hallways, appearing out of thin air before vanishing just as quickly. Guests and staff alike have felt her presence, along with cold spots and unexplained touches from invisible hands. The Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel might be a glamorous slice of Hollywood history, but for those who walk its halls today, it's also a place where the past refuses to stay silent. Haunted place number 5, Alcatraz Island, San Francisco Bay. Now, let's venture to a place that needs no introduction, Alcatraz Island. Surrounded by the icy waters of the San Francisco Bay, Alcatraz is one of the most infamous prisons in American history. Its legend looms large, and while it's no longer home to hardened criminals, many say that the souls of those who once walked its cells are still very much present. Opened as a federal penitentiary in 1934, Alcatraz quickly became the prison of choice for the country's most dangerous inmates. People like Al Capone and the Birdman of Alcatraz, Robert Stroud. The prison's isolated location and harsh conditions made it a living hell for many, and it's no wonder that the anguish and suffering endured by the prisoners left a lasting mark on the island. The most infamous hauntings are said to occur in the cell blocks. Cell 14D, also known as the Hole, is a dark, claustrophobic space used for solitary confinement. Inmates often spoke of feeling an oppressive presence while confined in the pitch-black cell. One story tells of a prisoner who was placed in 14D and screamed throughout the night, claiming he was being attacked by an unseen entity. By morning, the guards found him dead, his face twisted in terror with strange markings around his neck as though someone or something had strangled him. Visitors to Alcatraz today have reported hearing the faint sounds of prisoners crying out in pain, the clanging of metal doors, and disembodied footsteps echoing down the empty hallways. Some have even claimed to see shadowy figures lurking in the cells, figures that vanish as soon as they are noticed. The infamous D Block is particularly notorious for such encounters. Those who spend time there often speak of a cold, malevolent presence, as if the prisoners' anger and despair still hang in the air. Then there's the story of Al Capone. While imprisoned at Alcatraz, Capone was allowed to play the banjo as part of his recreation. After his death, Visitors and staff have reported hearing the soft, melancholic notes of a banjo playing in the prison shower room, where Capone used to practice. But no one can ever find the source of the music. Could it be the ghost of Capone himself? Forever tied to the prison he couldn't escape? The prison on Alcatraz Island may be abandoned, but for those who have braved its halls, it's clear that its ghosts are still doing time. Haunting place number 4. The Whaley House, San Diego. Our next stop brings us to San Diego, home to one of the most haunted houses in the United States, the Whaley House. Located in the heart of Old Town, this historic residence has been called America's most haunted house for good reason. Built in 1857 by Thomas Whaley, the house has a long and dark history that has made it a magnet for ghostly activity. The land where the house stands was once used for public executions, and many believe the spirits of those who met their end at the gallows still linger. One such spirit is said to be that of James "Yankee Jim" Robinson, a notorious criminal who was hanged on the property before the house was built. Visitors to the Whaley House report hearing heavy footsteps on the second floor, where it's believed Yankee Jim roams, angry and restless. The Whaley family itself also experienced tragedy within these walls. Thomas Whaley's infant son, Thomas Jr., died of scarlet fever in the house, and his daughter Violet tragically took her own life after a failed marriage. The sorrow and loss felt by the family seems to have left a lasting imprint. Many who visit the house today report seeing ghostly figures of both adults and children, as well as the lingering smell of perfume in the air when no one is around. The Whaley House is now a museum, but for those who work there and the visitors who pass through, it's clear that the spirits of the past are never far away. Staff members have reported feeling an icy hand brush against their arm, hearing disembodied voices, and seeing doors open and close on their own. Some have even caught a glimpse of the Whaley family themselves, ghostly apparitions dressed in period clothing, forever tied to the home they built. Whether it's the restless spirit of Yankee Jim or the tragic souls of the Whaley family, one thing is certain. The Whaley House is a place where the past is always present. Haunted place number 3. Bodie Ghost Town. Next, we travel to the desolate remains of a once thriving gold rush town, Bodie. Nestled in the Sierra Nevada mountains, this ghost town is frozen in time, preserved as a state historic park. But while the buildings stand silent, the town is far from empty. Bodie's violent history, filled with shootouts, sudden deaths, and lawlessness, has given rise to an abundance of ghostly tales. During the late 1800s, Bodie was a bustling mining town filled with hopeful prospectors looking to strike it rich. But with the wealth came violence, greed, and death. It's said that the spirits of those who met their untimely ends in Bodie still roam its dusty streets, and visitors to the town often experience strange phenomena. One of the most famous hauntings in Bodie is that of the Kane family home. Legend has it that the spirit of a woman in white roams the halls of the house, watching over the property. Some say she's the ghost of Mrs. Kane herself, forever tied to the home she once cherished. Guests have reported feeling an unsettling presence in the house, along with unexplained cold spots and the sensation of being watched. But the hauntings of Bodie don't end there. The town is said to be cursed. The Bodie curse warns visitors not to take anything, no matter how small, from the town. Even a simple rock can bring bad luck to those who dare to steal from the ghost town. Many who have ignored this warning have reported strange accidents, misfortunes, and unexplained illnesses, only to have their luck change once they return what they took. The park rangers have received countless letters and packages from former visitors begging for the curse to be lifted as they return their ill-gotten souvenirs. Today, Bodie stands as a reminder of the fleeting nature of fortune and the spirits left behind in its wake. The abandoned saloons, the weathered homes, and the empty church all tell the story of a town that once thrived but is now haunted by its dark and violent past. Haunted place number 2. The Cecil Hotel, Los Angeles. Our next destination takes us to one of the most notorious buildings in Los Angeles, the Cecil Hotel. This towering structure, nestled in the heart of downtown, is infamous for its dark history of violence, death, and mysterious occurrences. Built in 1924, the hotel was originally designed as a luxurious destination for wealthy travelers. But as the Great Depression set in and Skid Row grew around it, the Cecil transformed into a place of tragedy. The hotel's most infamous resident was Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, who lived there during his reign of terror in the 1980s. But Ramirez isn't the only dark figure associated with the Cecil. In 2013, the hotel made headlines once again with the bizarre and tragic death of Elisa Lam, whose final moments were captured on a disturbing elevator security camera video. Lam's body was later found in one of the hotel's water tanks after guests complained about the water pressure and taste. To this day, her death remains shrouded in mystery, fueling countless theories and ghostly rumors. Visitors and staff at the Cecil have reported seeing shadowy figures in the hallways, hearing disembodied voices, and feeling an overwhelming sense of dread when staying in certain rooms. Some guests claim to have woken up to see a figure standing at the foot of their bed, only for it to vanish moments later. The elevator where Elisa Lam was last seen also seems to carry an ominous energy. People have described feeling an unseen force keeping the doors from closing or the sensation of someone standing behind them, though no one is there. But it's not just Elisa Lam or Ramirez that haunt the Cecil. Over the years, the hotel has been the site of numerous suicides and unexplained deaths. Some say the spirits of those who lost their lives there still roam the halls, seeking peace that they can't find in the afterlife. With its long history of death and violence, it's no surprise that the Cecil Hotel has become one of the most haunted buildings in the world, attracting ghost hunters, thrill seekers, and those curious about its dark past. Haunted Place Number 1. The Death Valley Junction Opera House. Finally, we journey into the stark, barren landscape of Death Valley, to a place that seems an unlikely setting for ghosts, the Death Valley Junction Opera House. Built in the 1920s as part of a workers' camp, the Opera House was transformed in the 1960s by Marta Beckett, a talented ballerina and painter. She single-handedly revived the building, creating murals that still adorn its walls today. But as charming as her dedication was, many believe that the Opera House is home to something far more unsettling. After Beckett's arrival, strange things began to happen. Some visitors have reported seeing ghostly figures sitting in the theater seats, as if watching an invisible performance. Others have claimed to hear music playing late at night, long after the last show has ended. Marta herself even believed that some of her audience members were spirits, watching quietly from the back rows, never making a sound but always present. The Opera House is surrounded by miles of desert, isolating it from the rest of the world, which only adds to its eerie atmosphere. The wind whistles through the old wooden beams, and at night, the sound of footsteps can be heard echoing through the halls, though no one is there. Some say it's the spirits of those who passed through Death Valley, forever drawn to the Opera House's strange allure, while others believe it's the ghosts of performers who never had the chance to take the stage. The Death Valley Junction Opera House may not have the dark, violent history of some of the other places we've explored tonight, but its isolation and the lingering presence of unseen spectators give it an undeniable air of mystery. For those brave enough to visit, it offers not just a glimpse into history, but perhaps into the supernatural as well. And that, dear listeners, brings us to the end of our journey through the most haunted places in California. From the chilling halls of the Cecil Hotel to the eerie emptiness of Bodie Ghost Town, each location has its own dark history, filled with spirits who may never leave. If you visited any of these places or have your own paranormal experiences, we'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and share your story. And for those of you who are new to the channel, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more bone-chilling tales from the darkest corners of the world.